Hey guys, Mark the Landlocked Surfer here, and today I am getting out of my comfort zone, getting away from my standard 15 to 17 inch wheelbase boards to try out this behemoth 40 inch board with a 27 inch almost wheelbase, and seeing how much fun I can have trying something a little bit out of the ordinary for my regular riding style. Going to be doing a review of the Abian Barceloneta Surfskate. I have dabbled with boards like this in the past, usually with the waterborne setup. But recently, a company from Spain called Abian Skateboards, who make their own custom Surfskate decks, reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in trying one of their products. And when I looked at their models, one of the 40-inch longboard models, the Barceloneta, really spoke to me as something that was just absolutely beautiful looking. And it looked like the kind of setup that maybe would be a good sort of dedicated longboard surfskate that I could try. This board is 40 inches in length, it's 10 inches wide, and it's got a 26-inch wheelbase. And it's relatively flat with a little bit of concave to the shape, but not much of a nose or tail rocker. So it's your pretty typical longboard. And the very first place I tried it was on the pump track, and I was amazed at how it flew. This is literally my first run on this thing, and it was just flying on the pump track. I was amazed at how I was able to just step on this and have it feel so natural under my feet, unlike the other waterborne based longboards that I had set up. This just feels like it was meant to go together. So the trucks on these are Abian Surfskate trucks. They're similar to the Smooth Star Thruster 2 system, and they felt really nice. The wheels had just enough grip. I don't know, I could not believe how nimble and maneuverable it was for a board that was that big, that didn't have a ton of concave, that didn't have a kicktail. I had to try it barefoot, and the same thing. I think because of the wide wheelbase and the larger platform, I was able to get into my normal surfing stance. So I don't do a lot of shortboard surfing when I'm on the water. I'm mostly a longboarder when it comes to ocean surfing, and it just felt natural being able to get into my stance. It felt good under my feet, and I didn't take a lot of learning curve to get used to the size. So I want to say, after using this a lot, I actually find this board more fun on pump tracks than the setups that I usually use. Pump tracks I can find a little bit just too linear, like they don't challenge you enough. But on this board, it was a ton of fun. So the next thing I wanted to try on a board like this, which I didn't think to do before, was to try it in the bowl. And if I can drop in on my 36-inch swell tack, I figured, hey, 4 more inches, let's give it a shot. And I actually did get it on the first try. I didn't have any falls. So I was impressed with, what you're able to do on a 40-inch board. Even in this super tight bowl, I was able to find some lines a little bit more challenging than the regular setups. I slid out there, but I was able to get the speed and momentum back, and actually found that it was a pretty fun board to play with in the bowl. Tried another run here, and I was even able to get it up grinding on the coping on this run. So I think on a bigger bowl where you have some more room to work with, this thing would be super fun. Just a different kind of challenge than on the shorter boards with smaller wheelbases that I'm used to riding. But it just feels kind of surfy and flowy, and it still gives you the ability to kind of get rad with it, to get some carve grinds and that. So I'm super excited when the spring comes to be able to get this out and try it on a few more bigger outdoor parks and bowls. Well, it just so happens that the snow melted and we got a nice, clear, cold Saturday morning, and I was able to take this out to Legacy Skate Park, my regular skate park that you often see me skating at. And I brought the 40-inch Abian out, and oh my, was it ever fun to ride here. I just felt like I was surfing the concrete for real. Just a lot different feel from the shorter wheelbase boards where you have those longer lines. You kind of have to rely on your stance a little bit more to shift your weight to get the snaps and that just right. But once you do, it was just I don't know, it was a different experience, a new challenge, and if ever that something's starting to get stale for you that you love, like surf skating, just switching something up and trying something different can completely rejuvenate your look on things. So trying out this 40-inch longboard style setup just gave me a new challenge to try and do the things that I'm used to doing. And I'm just having a complete blast. It's changed my perspective on different types of boards. So I think this is definitely something that I might be looking to get a few other variations of longer boards to play around with. Also wanted to show you how this flows in the bigger 5-foot bowl outside in the concrete. So definitely you can still do grinds on this. One thing you do have to be wary of is that the truck is very loose, like it's very similar to the Smooth Star style. So if you do get too far forward on it, then you can jackknife it and cause the wheels to stop, as happened here. So you just have to be careful if you're riding a big bowl like this with loose trucks. When it came to doing Surfskate maneuvers, I found that I took a little bit of adjustment to get my weighting and foot positioning right. You can see here that my back foot kind of slips off there without the concave that you would have on a smaller deck and a shorter wheelbase where you can kind of get your feet right over both wheels. But once you do get it, it is so much fun. And I found it really helped me to work on good practices of getting my weighting and my positioning just right. And once you had that, the laybacks just felt spectacular. I really felt like I was surfing here. I was able to stretch it out and push it out with my back foot. Just felt incredible on this board. So this is a board that'll help you maybe develop good practices and good habits to get your weighting exactly right to get the wheels sliding on that large wheelbase. Now, it shouldn't come as a surprise that, of course, I wanted to try some unconventional things on this board. So I was able to get some long nose manuals. It just took a little bit of shifting with your weight to find where that balance point was, but it did it just as well. And after a lot of trial and error, I was even able to get a roll-on feeble grind here. Getting off was the tricky part, but I did manage it. So this board has a lot of options to it if you put your mind to it. There's a lot of versatility. The craftsmanship on this board, I think, is a big part of its success. Despite its size and its width, it's actually quite light. And I found that the truck system performed as good as other high-end truck systems. Like, it felt very similar to the Smooth Star thrusters to me. So you get really good quality components, you get a good quality deck, and it looks beautiful. My conclusions on the Barceloneta 40-inch longboard version, I just adore this board. It looks beautiful. I would mount it on my wall, but I actually wanted to ride it as well and found that it performed incredibly, like beyond my expectations of what could be done on a longboard. I could drop in on it, I found that I think the 40 inches with the 26-inch wheelbase, it kind of suited my surfing stance, which tends to be more on the longboarder side. So if you like longboarding when you surf, I think you'll find that this board just feels right under your feet. And if you surf skate, it just gives you something a little bit different than the standard shorter boards that feels great. It has like longer lines that you can kind of stretch out your turns and the snaps. It takes a little bit more effort to get those around, but they feel so good when you get them. I have had a blast riding this board, and it's definitely one that I'm going to keep on riding. Despite how beautiful it is, I'm going to be careful, try not to damage it too much, but this is one that I would definitely recommend buying, especially if you've never tried anything in a longer size before. It's just a really fun board to learn new things on, or the same things with just a different wheelbase. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you found that helpful.